Welcome in, guys, to my official review of Super Mario RPG. Let's dive right in. Honestly, for context, this was actually one of the ones that got away from me, so to speak. I had always wanted to make time for Super Mario RPG, whether it's SNES. I even had an opportunity where I had an SNES Classic with it on it and just never made the time. So opportunity arose, as you guys are no doubt aware, as the game drops improved visuals, touting better gameplay. Oh yeah, and it's on a little thing called the Switch. Man, I had to have it. Now, I have since completed the game. I'd say I'd put anywhere from 11 to 15 hours into it. So we're gonna dive in. Here are my thoughts and some gameplay to boot on Super Mario RPG. Okay, the first thing I really want to illustrate about this game is just how freaking beautiful it is. I do recall the SNES version having a certain look. And when you compare the two in screenshots, they are different for sure. However, I do want to drive the point home that this is not even remotely a bad thing, guys. The look of Mario and the cast is way smoother, and the world has been updated to match the new renders. I can't stress enough how this is currently my favorite depiction of the Mushroom Kingdom as well, and like the neighboring areas. It looks really good. I mean, just look at the areas. They actually feel lived in, they feel vibrant, and the improvements to the characters, especially my boy Bowser. Yes, anyone who knows me knows Waluigi and Bowser are the dudes. In this game, Bowser, well, he comes out of his shell, and when he does, he steals the show. So let's go ahead and check into some gameplay now that we've got the visual love out of the way. Okay, guys, I have a few points I need to go over about the gameplay. These are as follows. There isn't much going on, but there's a lot going on. Okay, I know it's confusing and it's a bit contradictory, but let me explain. Let me break things down. If we focus on the combat of this game, there isn't a ton new really from the turn-based RPG, I guess flavor, genre, what have you. You can debuff enemies, you can heal yourself, and this is one of the games that inspired like Sea of Stars or games after it where you if you land a hit and you press a button at the time of the hit or block a hit same way, you can reduce damage or you can add an extra hit. Spells are available, whether they're specializations for your characters, like I said, debuffs for like Bowser or healing for Peach. But you can also you can purchase an ice spell or something like that if you want to. Now there is a cool triple limit break of sorts as gauge goes up as you're chaining attacks together and stuff like that. It's basically a limit break for any of those familiar with Final Fantasy, and it actually lets all three party members do a super move. Now these moves are cool. They are very well designed and the combat is actually pretty easy to figure out. Once you have it though, it is rinse and repeat, which isn't necessarily bad. It's just nothing huge is getting done in the remake beyond what we see in other RPGs these days. Or these days rather. It does make sense though, because again, this game did inspire a lot of those. Now going on to point 2 though, about there being a lot going on. Coming in, I honestly did think this was just a traditional turn-based RPG. It actually isn't. The game has a lot of platforming elements straight out of classic Mario game. You got some side-scrolling craziness. Oh my god, and minecarts. You're dodging barrels. You got number and position-based puzzles. And you actually even have enemies that can disable buttons on the battlefield. So it does change some of the dynamic and what simplicity there is in just the basic combat ends up getting made up for with everything else in the game mechanics on the side. This actually does make Mario RPG, or at least in my experience, a really fresh experience, and it does help in stand out and not kind of get stale over time, especially for me as somebody who plays a lot of games in this genre. I love it for that, and honestly, I really wish more companies would do things like that. So I'm not gonna go super crazy into like the story beats, mostly because I outside of all the grabs that you've seen, which were pulled right off of my Switch for editing, I really want the story itself to be fresh to you if you are coming into Super Mario RPG for the first time. Honestly, whether you have an SNES, an SNES Classic, or you did like me after years decided to get it on the Switch, honestly, this is a great game. This is a great game for your Switch collection. It's a great game to have in your collection in general. What I would say is don't make the same mistake that I did, guys. You know, play it. Like, don't let it sit in the backlog, the library, the shelf, the case, whatever you want to call it. Don't let it sit there for too long, because it really is solid. And honestly, for one of the earliest games this year, it is a 10 out of 10 for me. It's just, it wows me. It has everything I like. It has the gameplay that I like. And honestly, this world, this, like I said, it's beautiful, it's rich, it's vibrant, and a very, like, I would say solid story to just kind of keep you engaged. You're interested throughout, and that to me is really, really important. All right, guys, well, let me know what you think about Mario RPG in the comments. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you get the Switch version? Are you an original player? I want to hear from you guys, so definitely sound off on your thoughts. And as always, gang, if you need to stay up to date with all things on my channel, you guys know what to do.